Hey everyone, ready for another deep dive?
Mhm.
Today we're going to be talking about dating and how to figure out if someone is really worth your time and energy.
Oh, this is going to be good.
It can be so hard in those early stages, right? You're excited about someone,
Totally.
but how can you tell if they feel the same way about you?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we found this really insightful YouTube video by Matthew Hussey.
Oh, yeah, he's a popular dating coach.
Yeah, and he gives some really good advice on how to approach dating so you don't end up wasting time on people who aren't as into you as you are into them.
That's so true. Like, it's so easy to get caught up in your own feelings
Right.
and just like project all these hopes and dreams onto the other person.
Yeah, and then you end up getting hurt or feeling rejected.
Exactly.
And Hussey really nails this problem. He says, so often we invest in relationships based on how much we like the other person, not on how much they're investing in us.
It's a huge mistake a lot of people make, I think.
Yeah, totally. Have you seen this in your own life, like with your friends or anything? Oh, all the time. Like my friend Sarah, she's always falling for these guys who are just not that into her.
Ugh, I hate when that happens.
Yeah, and she pours her heart and soul into these relationships, and they just don't give her anything back.
And she gets heartbroken every time.
Every time.
It's like she's not paying attention to the signs.
Exactly. It's like she's ignoring all the red flags.
So what does Hussey say we should do?
Well, he offers a solution to this problem, and it's called invest and test.
Okay, so what does that mean? Invest and test.
Well, he says you should definitely invest in getting to know someone you're interested in.
Okay.
Like put in the effort,
Yeah.
initiate conversations, be engaged, suggest dates, but then you got to test the water.
Test the waters, okay.
Yeah, you need to see if they're reciprocating your efforts.
Makes
Like, are
sense
they
then.
matching your energy?
Uh-huh.
Are their actions aligning with their words?
So how do you do that? How do you test?
Well, he gives this great analogy in the video about a coffee shop.
Okay, I like analogies. So imagine you're at a coffee shop and you see someone you're attracted to.
Okay.
Now, you could just sit there and passively hope that they notice you,
Yeah.
or you could invest and test.
Ooh, I like this already.
Right. So you could choose a seat near them, maybe strike up a conversation about their book or their drink or something.
Bold move.
Yeah. But you're putting yourself out there.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
you're also gauging their reaction.
You're seeing if they're interested.
Exactly.
So it's about being proactive, but also observant.
Exactly. You're creating opportunities for connection, but also paying attention to how they respond.
I like it. And this isn't about playing games, right?
I don't know. It's not about manipulating anyone.
Okay, good.
It's about being mindful and discerning with your energy.
So it's really about protecting yourself.
Yeah, and making sure you're not wasting your time on someone who's not worth it.
And this applies throughout the dating process, right? Not just those first encounters.
Exactly. Think about texting, for example.
Ooh, yeah.
Are you always the one initiating contact?
Oh my gosh, I feel personally attacked right now.
Right. Are your messages super long and thoughtful,
Yep.
while theirs are just like one-word answers?
Yep.
These patterns can reveal a lot about the level of investment from the other person.
So it's all about paying attention to those little cues
Exactly.
and being honest with yourself about what they mean.
Yeah,
So instead of focusing on how much you like someone,
right.
you should be paying attention to how much they are showing up for you.
Exactly. It's a game changer.
I love this. And this leads us to another key point that Hussey makes.
Okay.
The difference between communicating and chasing.
Ah, yes. This is a big one.
He's all for being upfront about your feelings,
Of
right?
course, communication is essential.
But there's a line between communicating and chasing.
Absolutely.
And I think that's where a lot of people get tripped up.
Yeah, for sure.
So can you explain the difference? Like, what's an example of communicating versus chasing?
Sure. So communicating could be something like saying, hey, I really enjoyed our conversation the other night.
Right.
Or I'd love to grab coffee sometime.
Straightforward and honest?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's open and direct.
Okay. But chasing, what does that look like?
Chasing is more like sending paragraph-long texts when they only respond with one-word answers,
Oof, I've been there.
or constantly being the one to initiate plans even when they seem lukewarm.
Yeah, like you're always the one reaching out.
Exactly. And you're not getting much back.
It's like you're putting in all this effort and they're just not meeting you halfway.
Exactly.
That can be so draining.
It is. And it can really damage your self-esteem.
Because it's like you're saying, I'm not worthy of someone who chooses me freely and enthusiastically.
Right.
I'll take whatever scraps of attention I can get.
Exactly.
And that's not a good place to be.
No, it's not.
So how do we avoid falling into that trap?
Well, Hussey has this funny bit in the video about the blue text phenomenon.
Blue text phenomenon. Okay, I'm intrigued.
You know how in texting, if you're always the one sending those long blue messages,
Yeah.
and their responses are short and gray,
Oh, yeah.
it might be a sign that the balance is off.
Uh-huh. So true.
Right.
Like those blue texts become a visual reminder to check in with yourself and ask,
Yeah.
am I getting what I'm giving here?
Exactly. And if the answer is no,
Yeah.
it's time to reassess the situation.
So we've got to be more mindful of those patterns.
Absolutely.
And be honest with ourselves about what they mean.
Yes. And that's where Hussey's next point comes in.
Okay, let's hear it.
He talks about the danger of putting someone on a pedestal.
Ooh, the pedestal. I've definitely been there.
We've all been there.
So why do we do that? Why do we put people on pedestals?
Well, Hussey suggests it often stems from low self-worth.
That makes sense.
We convince ourselves that this person is the one.
Right.
And we end up chasing after a fantasy rather than a reality.
Yeah, and then we ignore all the red flags.
Exactly, because we're so blinded by our own idealized version of them.
And we end up getting hurt.
Exactly. And it can be really hard to break free from that cycle.
So how do we do it? How do we stop putting people on pedestals?
Well, I think it starts with recognizing your own worth.
Okay.
You need to remind yourself that you are valuable,
Uh-huh.
lovable,
Yeah.
and deserving of reciprocal love and attention.
It's about knowing that you are a catch.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Not a consolation prize.
I love that. So we have to flip the script in our heads.
Yes.
Instead of asking, how do I get them to like me?
Right.
We need to ask, am I being treated the way I deserve to be treated?
Exactly. And if the answer is no,
Yeah.
then it's time to walk away.
It's about setting boundaries.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And knowing what you will and will not tolerate.
I like it. So how does this tie back into the invest and test strategy?
Well, it's a framework for discerning who's genuinely interested in you
Okay.
versus who's just keeping you on the back burner.
So it's a way to protect yourself from getting hurt
Exactly.
and from wasting your time on people who aren't worth it. I love it. So communication is key,
Absolutely.
but it has to be the right kind of communication.
Right. It's about being direct and honest about your needs and expectations.
And being willing to walk away if those needs aren't being met.
Exactly. It's about knowing your worth.
I love it. So we've talked about investing and testing and the difference between communicating and chasing
Yep.
and the danger of putting people on pedestals.
Right.
So what's next? What else does Hussey have to say about this whole dating thing?
Well, he talks about the real meaning of greatness in a relationship.
Oh, greatness. Okay, I'm all ears.
He says that someone's greatness isn't just about their personality traits or their job or their looks.
Okay, so it's deeper than that.
Exactly. It's about how they treat you.
Oh, I like that. It's about their investment.
Exactly.
So it's not just about finding someone who's objectively great on paper.
Right.
It's about finding someone who's great for you.
Yes, someone who sees your worth and actively chooses to invest in building a connection with you.
I love it. It's about alignment of values.
Yes.
Mutual respect. And a willingness to put in the effort to nurture the relationship.
Exactly.
So how do we know if someone is truly great for us?
Well, I think a good starting point is to become aware of your own patterns. Like, have you found yourself chasing in the past?
Yeah.
What were the signs?
Yeah. It's so important to be honest with ourselves about those tendencies.
Totally.
I know I've definitely been guilty of chasing before. It's almost like you get tunnel vision. You're so focused on getting this one person to like you
Yeah.
that you lose sight of everything else.
And it's understandable. We all crave connection and validation.
Right?
But when that desire morphs into an obsessive pursuit, it can backfire.
Big time. So how do we break free from that cycle?
How do we shift from chasing to attracting?
Yeah.
I think it starts with recognizing your own worth.
Yeah.
You need to remind yourself that you are valuable, lovable,
Yeah.
and deserving of reciprocal love and attention. It's about knowing that you are a catch,
Yes.
not a consolation prize.
I love that. It's about flipping the script in your head
Exactly.
instead of how do I get them to like me?
Right.
It becomes, am I being treated the way I deserve to be treated?
Yes,
That's a game changer.
it is. And this is where Hussey's invest and test strategy becomes so crucial.
Right.
It's a framework for discerning who's genuinely interested in you
Yeah.
versus who's just keeping you on the back burner.
Okay, so how do we do that? How do we invest and test in a way that helps us set those boundaries?
Well, he's a big advocate for clear communication. It's not about playing games or being passive-aggressive,
Okay.
but rather about expressing your needs and expectations
Yeah.
in a direct and respectful way.
So give me an example. How would you do that?
Imagine you're always the one initiating contact.
Okay. Yeah.
Instead of stewing in frustration, you could simply say something like,
Right.
"Hey, I've noticed that I'm usually the one reaching out. I'd love to hear from you more often."
Wow. It's so simple, but so powerful.
Right. You're not accusing them of anything, but you are setting a clear boundary
Yeah.
and expressing what you need.
And then what? What do you do?
And then you see how they respond.
Okay.
If they're receptive and start putting in more effort, great.
Okay.
But if they brush it off or continue with the same pattern, that's valuable information too.
It is.
It gives you the clarity to make an informed decision about whether to continue investing in the relationship.
You can either adjust your expectations or walk away.
Exactly.
Yes.
You redirect your energy towards people who are more aligned with your values.
Yes. People who are willing to reciprocate your efforts.
Exactly.
And this reminds me of something else Hussey said about the danger of putting someone on a pedestal.
Oh, yeah.
He believes it's often at the root of chasing behavior.
It makes sense.
We inflate someone's importance in our minds, convince ourselves they're this perfect being,
Yeah.
and then we end up chasing after a fantasy rather than a reality. It's like we're projecting all of our unmet needs and desires onto this other person instead of doing the inner work
Right.
to fulfill those needs ourselves.
It's so true.
We're giving away our power
Yes.
and setting ourselves up for disappointment.
And the pedestal effect can be incredibly blinding. We overlook red flags, rationalize bad behavior,
Totally.
and convince ourselves that if we just try hard enough, they'll finally see our worth
Yeah.
and reciprocate our feelings.
It's like we're trying to convince them to like us
Right.
instead of just accepting that they don't.
Exactly.
And that's so unhealthy.
It is. And what's fascinating is that the more we chase, the less attractive we become.
Wait, really?
Think about it.
Yeah.
Desperation and neediness are rarely qualities that draw people in.
That's true.
It's almost like a law of attraction in reverse.
Okay.
The more we fixate on someone who's not interested, the more we push them away.
Wow. So how do we break free from this pedestal trap? How do we start seeing people more realistically?
It requires a conscious effort to shift our focus. Instead of obsessing over their potential or their idealized version, we need to start paying attention to their actions.
Okay.
Are they consistent with their words?
Oh.
Are they treating us with respect and consideration?
Yeah. Are they actually showing up for us?
Exactly. And I think it's crucial to remember that everyone has flaws.
Right.
No one is perfect. By acknowledging this, we can avoid setting unrealistic expectations
Yeah.
and setting ourselves up for disillusionment.
It's about embracing the messiness of human relationships
Exactly.
and recognizing that even the most great people will have moments of imperfection.
Right.
This brings us back to Hussey's reframing of greatness.
Yes.
He argues that someone's greatness in a relationship isn't just about their inherent qualities. It's about how they show up for you. It's about their investment. He's encouraging us to look beyond the superficial, the
Right.
charming personality, the impressive job title,
Yeah.
and focus on the substance. Are they making an effort to get to know you? Are they supporting your goals and dreams? Are they there for you when you need them?
Exactly. Those are the real markers of greatness in a relationship.
So it's not about finding someone who ticks all the boxes on your checklist.
Right.
It's about finding someone who sees you, values you, and actively chooses to invest in your connection.
Exactly.
And that requires a certain level of self-awareness on both sides.
It does.
It's about being honest about your needs,
Yes.
setting healthy boundaries, and being willing to walk away if those needs aren't being met.
Absolutely.
So instead of chasing after someone who's not giving you what you need, you can redirect your energy towards people who are more aligned with your values and who are ready to meet you halfway.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that your energy is precious. Like you deserve to invest it in relationships that nourish you.
Not deplete you.
Exactly.
This reminds me of something Hussey said about how chasing someone can actually make us less attractive.
Oh, yeah.
It creates a dynamic of neediness and desperation.
Right, which can be a real turnoff.
Totally. Think about it. We're drawn to people who are confident, self-assured, comfortable in their own skin.
Exactly.
But when we're constantly chasing after someone, it sends the message that we need their validation to feel good about ourselves.
Right, and that can become a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Oh, totally.
The more we chase, the more distant they become, reinforcing our belief that we're not good enough.
Ugh. It's a vicious cycle.
It is. But here's the interesting thing.
What's that?
When we shift our focus inward on our own lives, our passions, our personal growth, we actually become more attractive.
Wait, really? So you're saying the best way to attract someone amazing is to be amazing yourself?
Exactly. It's about cultivating a life that you love regardless of your relationship status.
Okay.
When you're genuinely happy and fulfilled on your own,
Yeah.
you radiate a magnetic energy that draws people in.
People who are also looking for genuine connection, who appreciate you for who you are, not for what you can do for them. It's like you're leveling up your entire dating game by focusing on your own personal growth.
It's like switching from a scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset.
Yeah.
You're no longer desperately seeking validation from outside sources.
Right.
You're creating it from within.
And that's a powerful position to be in. You're not settling for crumbs of attention.
Nope.
You're attracting a banquet of love and respect.
Exactly.
Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive into Matthew Hussey's advice, what are some key takeaways you want our listener to remember?
First, remember that you are worthy of love and respect, just as you are.
Yes.
Second, shift your focus from chasing to attracting.
Okay.
Invest in yourself, cultivate a life that lights you up, and communicate your needs clearly and confidently.
I love it. And finally,
remember that true greatness in a relationship isn't about someone's external qualities. It's about their investment in you.
how they make you feel.
Exactly. How they support you and how they show up for you day after day.
Don't settle for crumbs of attention.
Nope.
Hold out for a love that is fully reciprocated. A love that nourishes your soul and makes you feel truly seen and appreciated.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, that's a powerful message to end on. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the world of dating and relationships. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep believing in the power of love.